By now you've probably heard of the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. It's a zone in Seattle where Antifa and Black Lives Matter have taken over a precinct, a neighborhood, and around 6 blocks, put barricades all over the zone, and declared lawlessness. They were able to do this after driving out the police. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today on the internet, we're going to talk about Capitol Hill's Autonomous Zone's first Warlord. Here we are with Maya Black-Hearted Cyber Angel Baby, wired_God, who says, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, world's most ambitious anthropological experiment, has received its first Warlord. Took only 1 day for the monopoly on violence to be discovered. What will happen next? So, there seems to be a new police in town, and it goes by the name of Raz Simone. Why, you ask? Well, he's got a lot of guns. But before we look into the story, if you're a new viewer to the channel, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the bell button for notifications. If you're a regular viewer, consider giving this video a share. Have you ever felt the call of the crusade? Introducing the Deus Vult Night line. Consider getting the Deus Vult Night Classic t-shirt, for example. Beautiful artwork. A call to the crusade. A magnificent knight stands on the battlefield. We've also got hoodies and more. Link down below. So, oh boy. This, my friends, is a whole lot of irony. The fact of the matter is, America is descending into chaos as a literal warlord takes over the Capitol Hill so-called Autonomous Zone. So we're going to look on Reddit. This is primarily where this footage is being posted. Here you can see Raz Simone and crew assault man for graffiti, June 10th, 2020. Some of the responses are as follows. D-Saw says, "Look at me. I am the police captain now." So when we go to the original post, there's some footage here, and we're going to look at this footage. We're going to see exactly what's going on. So here's the video, and we are loading. So you can see people doing graffiti, and then this group, I believe, Raz Simone's crew and him, come up to this group. And this is what they say.
Yeah, we know. You don't know the owner of this place? The owner that's actually being nice and letting us stay here?
Oh, God.
You forgot, we are the police of this community now. We are the leaders of this community now.
So as you can see, the crew declares themselves the new police, the new owners of the town. And this is when things go south.
No, bro. Go then. Stop, bro. Stop. Go then, bro. Stop. Hey, I'm not trying to aid. Get your hands off me, bro. Hey, yo, hey, stop. Hey, bro. Hey, you gonna book up?
So the full breakdown of this confrontation are as follows. TL, too long, didn't watch. Man was tagging over someone else's art. Raz and group approach and separate him from the crowd, chasing him for 2 blocks. He begins to film them with his phone. They take it from him. He tries to get it back, and they attack him, kicking him in the head and breaking his glasses. At one point, Raz threatens to shoot the man. They then began to gaslight him that it was all his fault. Audio only for most of the end, because woman in Raz's crew filming puts the phone in her pocket while the stream continues. And then there's a timeline of events right here. And they seem to get into a sort of disagreement. But here's the point. This area of lawlessness is quickly being overtaken by people with a little bit of power and influence. So let's look at some of the responses here on this thread. Here we can see a user named Ocean Bliss who says, Raz is becoming the very thing people didn't want to begin with. Jeet Woo says, this is the second time I've seen Raz assault someone on video during the protest. The first being Omari, while he was live streaming. J Plus replies, FWIW. Omari made a video where he talked about how it was a misunderstanding and they had reconciled their differences. Humble Bold Jack says, ah yes, reacting with assault before an understanding. That's how the new community force should start. Don't see how that could go poorly. And then here comes the big realization out of all of this. In the Capitol Hill Free Zone, you have a bunch of gangs essentially going out to police people's behavior. And what do you know? They're starting to be unreasonable. They're starting to get unruly. and they're starting to react with a violence before talking. Doesn't that kind of sound like the complaints that these groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter had about the police? You become the very thing you swore to destroy. I find it very ironic that as soon as regular day people have to deal with crime and criminal behavior, all of a sudden they all become cops. Could it possibly be that cops were just doing their jobs all along, and that these situations are not easy to handle? Oh, could that be it? But here's the difference. Would you rather be policed by someone who's accountable to the state and accountable to the law, or a vigilante who is accountable to no one? Raz's crew seems to be solving things with assault. Hitting first, talking later. But this was expected to happen. You see, when you drive out the police from your city, it leaves a power gap. And those power gaps are usually vastly filled. And Lord help you if it's someone who doesn't have your best interests or your interest in mind at all. Here, My Guns Alt says, "This video is terrifying. We are the police here now. Holy S, what a nightmare." So Wizard of the Future points out, it's not the first altercation involving Raz at these protests. His crew does appear to be stepping into the role of street police now. So basically, this has become gang rule. When there are no police, the gangs come in and perpetuate a cycle of violence, destruction, and community wrongdoing. It almost never ends well. You know, there's a lot of people out there who believe that people can police themselves. And I gotta say, maybe that's possible in some instances, but I don't think it's possible in most instances. Anarchy is a temporary state. Anarchy means without authority. But because we live in the real world, a lack of authority will always be filled by people who want authority. Here you can see in the replies, Outrageous Barnacle says, "They're literally extorting the nearby businesses for protection money now too." And there it is. There you go, friends. The autonomous free zone has officially got its own mafia. What did that take, like 24 hours? And it's already got a mafia and it's run by a gang. Word is nearby businesses are being told to shell out $500 for now or else. So here, let's look here. I'm a business owner in the area. My business was entered this evening by a group of 6 free Cap Hill participants who requested I pay $500 to help finance what they said was community security and protection. They said they will accept cash or Bitcoin. I told them I would prefer to pay in the latter and hope it would buy time. They're supposedly coming back tomorrow to give me digital wallet details. None of them actually had that info when they showed up. I'm assuming there's a leader or someone in the background who keeps it. Even $500 is going to be a hit for me as we just reopened. But I'd rather pay than ask for trouble. Literally a protection racket. Wow. So the police leave. And in only a few days, the free Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, aka insurrection, has already devolved to this point. Marcus S. says, I am hoping they provide some more clarity as to whether this is a one-time or recurring payment, and how often payment is expected. Dude, wake up. They're gonna bust you up for money every month, probably even more, and they're gonna demand a little bit more each time. That's how these protection rackets work. And this is what life is like without police. If I were you, I would sell that business, accept the loss, cut my losses, and leave. Was voting Democrat worth it? Because most of these lawless zones reigning under terror and chaos and anarchy, most of them are Democratic. Most of them are blue cities, blue states with Democratic politicians. They let it get out of control. They let it get out of hand. Your politicians did not defend you, and now you have to pay protection money to a gang because the police were driven out. This is what happens when you abolish police. A citizen replies, you clearly never gained an appreciation of the freedoms you were given, freedoms purchased with the blood of patriots. You are so bereft of understanding, you whimper like a child, afraid of asking for trouble. Now pay up. You will be designated racist if you don't, and clearly, it is more desirable to avoid such a label than to breathe free air. And what a beautiful response. God bless this nation. Bless this nation and all which it stands for, that our founders bled and died for our rights and our freedom. You know, a wise man once said, give me liberty or give me death. And I'm gonna tell you this, I choose death before I'm gonna give anyone any protection money. I shouldn't be afraid of them. They should be afraid of me. Because that's what it means to be an American. That's what it means to have rights. That's why the right to bear arms is so important, so that tyranny cannot reign. What an absolute response, based and red-pilled. Pliny the Marble has a really good point here. They say, it only took 1 week, 1 week, for the socialist utopia to become the very fascist society these fools claim to abhor. Maybe if people had read a history book in their life, they would know that this will not end well. This is a really good point too here. Ocean Bliss says, and how do you remove someone who now has a group and guns with him? To me, he seems to be judge, jury, and executioner. Well, welcome to anarchy. Welcome to lawlessness. The new sheriff in town is here, and his name is Raz Simone and his crew, or Raz Simone. I don't know exactly what his name is, and I don't really care. Apparently he's a rapper. Yep, now I'm going to bring you back to the biggest point of this video. Here SV3N Man says, unpopular opinion, but that would be a job for the cops. Oh, you think? Or National Guard, some official unit with guns. Ideally, a sternly warded GTFO would work, but if not, the only way to deal with someone who honors force over reason is more force. Oh, you think? And the only way to do that without risking a broader conflict breaking out is if the enforcer is seen as legitimate by society at large. And if only there was a word for it. I think it started with a P. Police? Is that what the police were for? To prevent this sort of thing from happening? I am shocked. And I don't even like police. I don't like police. But you know what? I've become a lot more pro-police since all of this happened, because on one hand, I can totally understand that yes, there's corruption in the police force. There's bad people in the police force, but you know what? Most of the police are good, and most of the police aren't corrupt. And you know what? Police keep society safe. They keep society from descending into chaos. So I have a lot more support for police now that my eyes have been opened. And hopefully this will open more people's eyes. Hot Pink Unicorn says, this is fundamentally why you need law and order, because sometimes words and reason don't work against heavily armed warlords. So you know what, my friends? This is pretty much the story. Lawlessness in Seattle. Lawlessness in this Capitol Hill free zone. Run by Antifa, run by groups like Black Lives Matter. It only took less than a week for an armed mafia gang to take over, demand protection money, and reign with force, not words. All because the community chased away the police. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? I gotta tell ya, it's crazy times we're living in. This is a historical point in history, and I have a big feeling that how the history books will be written depends on the victor. If the left-wingers win this political war, they're going to write history as if they were some great revolutionaries. But those of us who remember, those of us who saw the truth, we know the terror and the frightening crime and destruction and chaos and lawlessness. We know the truth. Let this video be a testament to history. As always, if you want to support the work I do here chronicling events, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar. If you want to donate, there's Donorbox and Bitcoin. Links are down below. And of course, you can also visit my merch store. I currently have the Deus Vult line, and I'm currently working on uploading some secondary art for that line very soon. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.